Oh, you're popular.
Hi, Mom. Sorry, I'm just recording the podcast.
Hi, Mommy. Hi, Mommy. I'm at work. Hello, Leigh. How are we?
Dear listener, welcome to Queer Gals Watch The West Wing, by the way, season 4, episode 18, Privateers, which we are recording. I know that we've already had a heatwave episode this season, but this heatwave in London is a whole new level. I come to you, dear listener, today recording in a bikini. I'm not near a large body of water or pool where I can swim after this record, but it's the only thing that I can stand to have on my body.
I rate that, Leigh.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you'd chosen to have your camera off and be completely starkers, I also would have understood that. I am not in London. I'm in down on the southeast coast, and it is also very hot. It's currently 36 here.
Yeah. For our American listeners, I need you to know London does not have air conditioning really anywhere of any kind. And it is currently 94 degrees in London.
Fahrenheit. Yeah. Our little country wasn't built for this. We didn't, our forefathers and mothers didn't foresee, stratospheric global warming. So, yeah. And do you know what? I was saying this to my partner last night. I was like, I didn't think all of this would happen so quickly. And he was like, yeah, I kind of thought it would, like the real impact would hit maybe like the generation below us, like our friends' kids. He was like, but turns out it will just be us.
100%.
And that actually teases up in a really nice way for a storyline in this episode.
Yes. The forever beleaguered millennial generation. We were but children when this episode came out. So young, so full of hope.
But we do have a form of hope, Leigh, because we're going to top this episode before we get into the episode recap with a bit of frivolity.
Yes, because dear listener Erin sent us a gift in the post with strict instructions to open said gift. Apparently they're the same. Fi has hers on the southeast coast. I have mine in London. To open them when we got to season 4, episode 18 of Privateers. So thank you, Erin. We're going to open live on air.
Live on air. Okay, incredible. Let's do it.
Let's go.
This is so silly. Oh my God, this is amazing.
It's a Francis Scott Key.
This is so good. Erin, thank you so much.
Erin, thank you.
Do you know why this is? Leigh and I have shared some voice notes about this episode, and specifically the character with which the Francis Scott Key is kind of like related to. And I actually can't wait to hang this on the wall.
Dear listener, it is a mounted Francis Scott Key set against the backdrop of the rippling American flag waving in the wind. And I will be getting myself a little TaskRabbit to mount this on the wall, I think.
Fiona Kingwell, for your many years of service, the Francis Scott Key.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Thank you so much, Erin. I will treasure this forever.
This is so great. Thank you so much. And a magnet.
And a magnet.
And a what's next magnet.
Do, Erin, let us know where we can send our listeners if they would like their own Francis Scott Key.
And also thank you so much for sending these across the ocean.
Yes, postmarked from the US of A.
Yeah. So that's actually put a pep in my step.
I'm so excited. Shall we get into this episode? Because I feel in many ways I've been waiting my whole life for this episode.
It was a tonic. This episode was a tonic. And I think as we dive into the episode recap of episode 18, season 4 of The West Wing, Privateers, I think we should remind ourselves that upon every season of this show, there comes a point where Leigh and I are not ground down, but we're heavy with the weight, with the burden of the administration on our shoulders as viewers. And then Aaron will sprinkle in some sweet nonsense.
Yeah.
And this was what was needed. I was like, fuck, we're going to war. Everything's like really, like we're in a bad place. And then the gift was given to us. The gift of privateers. So, the previously on is kind of giving flashbacks to our foreign ops bill and, of course, to Amy's promotion. But we start at 6 a.m. in the presidential bedroom.
The first gift of this episode.
Of many. And Jeddy's wake-up call. I'm sorry, but there is no one more convincing with just woken up acting than Martin Sheen, I think, in this moment.
Do you think it's better than Stockard Channing?
They're on a par. I mean, you really can't pick between the two of them. They're two titans of screen and stage.
Yes, and we are momentarily back in camera obscura because we are waking up in a darkened room.
I saw that online there's quite a lot of chat about this, which is seemingly the lighting department for the West Wing are obsessed with either blindingly bright light or just like no light at all. Make of that what you will.
Absolutely. I had some conjecture for you, Fi. What do we think the job title is of the person giving the president his wake-up call?
I assume that this person is probably like a deputy or an assistant to like the presidential butler. Do we feel?
Ooh, that makes sense.
Like part of the butler's team.
So not residence concierge.
I quite like that, though. I'd love to do that job. I love waking people up. It's like my favorite thing to like get up before everyone. I'm a Virgo. To get up before everyone else. It's not a competition, but I would win. And like make teas and coffees. And then I want everyone else to like be sat in bed, like reading their books, having hot drinks. And I'm like making breakfast for everyone. On a holiday, that's like my dream.
As you did this weekend when you made me some gorgeous scrambled eggs when I stumbled downstairs after our wine tasting the day before.
Yes. That was very fun. I love how we were like, God, it's so hot when we were at that wine tasting and it's almost 10 degrees hotter now. Wow. We must simply discuss I think in every relationship, there is the person who cannot get up and the person who is up. And in Jed and Abby's marriage, that Abbey is up.
Abbey is up. She kind of saunters in, thrilled with herself because it's 6 a.m. and she has already completed her morning workout, which is, by the way, psychotic.
It's very Abbey.
It's very Abbey. She walks in. It's very, the kids are having sugar.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you had this little plan.
Yeah.
And it is their most relatable couple moment so far for me.
Definitely. And then it went in a very baby talk direction.
It did go in a baby voice direction that I did not see coming.
I didn't see for them as a couple, but both of them were very into it and it felt like it was moving in a sexual direction, Lee. And then Jed was like, yeah, Operation Resting Eagle. And the way that Abbey like physically balks at the concept of Operation Resting Eagle is so funny. And she like physically bustles away from him.
Wait, let me put my glasses on. Something's turning me on about you and I can't tell why.
He's frisky in the mornings. I think, all Abbey says is, my hair's wet. And I'm like, you would be correct, Jed. Like, wet hair makes everyone look extra fit. Everyone looks hot with wet hair.
Agreed.
I say that as someone whose partner is completely bald. But bless him. Bless him. He did his best. Also, lovely to see Abby's natural curls.
Yes. I have always wondered what Stockard Channing's natural hair texture was.
And she's a full curly girl.
She truly is, yeah. I would be fascinated to see her on her curly girl method journey.
Oh my God, yeah. It would be a very, I think, post-White House moment for her I feel like people will be like,
Yes.
Since leaving her position, former First Lady Abigail Bartlett has lent fully into the curly girl method.
Please, can we just free First Ladies to enjoy their natural hair texture while their husband is in office? I just feel, as First Lady, as it currently stands, there is an expectation that you will have a blowout every time you're seen in public. Whether you have naturally kinky hair, curly hair, straight hair, whatever it may be. And I just don't know why we need to wait for the men to leave office for the women to embrace their natural hair texture.
No. Abby would like some gossip.
Yes.
Specifically about Leo and Geordie.
Yes, which we all do. As do we all. We all want the goss.
But Jed is tight as a clam on this.
Yeah, I kind of... Do I rate the bro code of it all? I don't know. I feel like Leo would be happy to gab about it.
Leo's a gabber, isn't he? As is Jed. I think it's because we might get more information, like literally in an episode. Mm-hmm. So rather than give it over as gossip, they're just going to wait for it to be scene time.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to move on to the topic of Clancy Bangut.
Yes.
Which is a fucking mental name, but the correct name for an anti-abortionist.
Agreed. We're having a moment of Jed having to define his stance on abortion as a Catholic man.
Yes, so the Foreign Ops Bill is in the Senate currently, and essentially the Senator, Clancy, has tacked on that aid can only go to like hospitals and doctors who are not recommending abortion.
Which, it goes without saying, abortion is healthcare. But it is a reality of the political conversations of this era and of today. So
truly. People are starving to death, dying of disease to death, and they can't cook the Bill of Rights.
So we're for freedom of speech everywhere but poor countries where they can have our help. But only if they live up to Clancy Baggart's moral standards. What the hell kind of free world are you running?
I really don't know, Abby. The day hasn't started yet.
Smash to credits.
What an opener. And can we just talk about what a fucking cool, smart, sexy couple they are?
I love their rapport.
Yeah. And honestly, it's couple goals for me.
Truly. And, there's a lot of chat in the dating world, on Love Island. That's it, really. But in those two spaces, about the concept of banter these days. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what? Do away with banter. Banter is for insecure straight men. Rather than banter, let's have a rapport.
Let's have a rapport. Leigh, there's a Substack in there for you. Should we move on? Because Josh Lyman is working.
He is. Proud of him.
Yeah.
Why was I so excited to see Josh this episode? I really feel like it snuck up on me, but I feel like I love him.
I do love Josh. I always have.
Yeah.
But I think he's in a really great era right now.
He is. His ex era with Amy really suits him. There's something about showing a heterosexual man being confident, comfortable, and normal around an ex.
It's important representation.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I think also what we're seeing is the positive influence of his previous relationship on his workplace behavior and his personal behavior.
Yes, we love.
He is briefing Leo on like a environmental disaster that is currently unfolding in Alaska. Okay, it's a rushing river of ice and water and rock. It's about 300 feet wide and it's sweeping through Katchadee, which is a town on one side of the lake.
A 300-foot wide river of ice and rock is sweeping through a small town?
Yeah.
And you think that's funny?
No.
I thought you were trying to be funny.
No, I'm trying to brief you on a state of emergency in Alaska.
Sorry, man, we're on the same page now.
That is funny.
It's so funny. And I feel like it's because we've only had teeny tiny little glimpses of Josh actually being Leo's deputy and what that looks like. I feel like the last time we had a glimpse into it, it was all very in earnest regarding Leo's sobriety and Josh's struggles with mental health. Whereas like we've not actually seen them together in an office doing the work day to day. Much.
And we've been clamoring for this. I think you and I have been really looking forward to seeing Josh like step up And the way he briefs Leo is like so clear, so concise. And then like Leo says this, he says, you don't want to stand here for a moment and reflect on the fact that a glacier melted this morning? And Josh turns back and is like, well, no, because a glacier melted this morning. So like, it's like, well, we've got to go to work. Mm-hmm. Really, really interesting. And then Leo's like, okay, great. So can you get the bigwigs together to brief me, and then I can brief the president? Off Leo goes, and then Josh goes to kind of disseminate with other people, bumps into Will.
Yes. And the way that Josh then gives Will like the bare bones of a briefing so that Will can then prep CJ for her remarks in the press briefing is such an insightful moment as to how Will/Sam's old job actually functions and what the day-to-day of that might look like. Because I feel like Josh and Sam were so close, they had such a like shared language that there was a lot they didn't actually have to communicate verbally. Like Sam would just already be on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There was a lot of shorthand with those two because they were such old friends. And I think what's really nice now is we've got this new character. Not only are they just sort of like a fresh energy in the show, but they are in a way shining a light on like how this job works.
Yes.
Which I think is what the show needed at this point.
Agreed. In the same way that, like, we need the character of the English cousin in Derry Girls.
Yeah.
So that we can actually have an outsider's perspective on how the madness of Girls Irish Catholic Convent School in Derry actually runs.
Yeah, definitely. Will's job truly contains multitudes because he has this moment with Josh about prepping some things for CJ on the Alaska situation. But then he's like, I was just going to ask you if the first lady is a distant relative of a pirate. And they're on the move. And then like CJ is walking towards them, and it's like a classic like switcheroo walk and talk. And as Josh exits like the shot and CJ enters, Josh like throws this line away to CJ.
Which is essentially him like passing the ball of the scene over to Alice and Janney, just going like, he needs to know about Captain Featherstone. And we don't even see Josh's face as he delivers the line. And there's just something so comedically genius about the fact that this show is so dense that like in any other show, you'd have like a tight shot on Josh delivering that as a joke. But the show is so dense and so fast moving that they can actually take the main joke of the exchange and not even see the face of the character delivering it. It's just literally like over the shoulder as we move on to the next thing, which makes it good. Even funnier.
And I think it's when you have these episodes that are like comedic and light, you really see the cast enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Like they needed that moment of respite too. And the moment of respite is a really, really fun storyline. CJ's like, what's going on? And we learn about Marion Coatsworth Hay of Marblehead. And I have to say, the fake names this week are being knocked out of the park.
Truly something out of George Bernard Shaw. And I can but respect it.
Once again, Aaron Sorkin is a theatre kid. I also must log that when briefing CJ, Will says, I'm sorry, is it okay if I laugh a couple of times through this?
Yeah.
So Marion Coatsworth Hay is a member of the DAR.
Yes, the moment that I realized that the DAR was going to have a main plot line in this episode, all of my dreams came true. I was also just like, wow, this is going to be such a fun problem for Amy in her new job. It was a set me up to bat moment.
Stunning. So the issue at hand for Marion, her personal issue is something like Abbey's like 17 times grandfather was a pirate and therefore not a patriot. And therefore she can't be a daughter of the American Revolution member, and that she and some other people are going to boycott the DAR dinner at the White House that evening and ask to revoke Abbey's membership.
Crazy.
And as CJ says, Abbey's relative wasn't a pirate, he was a privateer, which is a different thing. Is it? That's the fun game that we play this episode.
Hey.
But it's really nice to see witty banter, to use your phrase from earlier, between CJ and Will.
Yeah, really fun.
Shall we go to Amy's new office?
Yes.
Gorgeous office.
Such a gorgeous office. Also, I got excited because I was like, oh my God, confirmation that Amy is a Yale alum. And then I was like, oh, we actually kind of already knew that because we knew that her and Josh went to college together. But fun nonetheless.
She's hanging up her college diploma and like banging a nail into the wall, and then like steps back to view her work. And this is such an incredible moment of comedy. Like,
such a good visual gag of just it all falling to the floor. Yeah.
All of the pictures kind of like in turn dominoing and like knock each other off the wall.
Beautiful work from the set design and prop team there. Really to pull off that visual gag.
We applaud you. And then just an entrance of an intern. And she's just standing there holding a hammer. So good.
Yes, love the idea of Amy managing an intern. It's beautiful to see.
Poor Nat. I feel we'll never see him again.
No.
Yeah. You raised something here which is interesting.
Are we giving Amy the new character trait of being accident prone this season? Because I feel like we're giving her the kind of physical comedy relief moments that CJ might have had in the past. But I just don't feel like Amy was this accident prone in previous seasons.
No, I think she's taken the torch, because if we look back at like season 1 and season 2, like there were moments where like CJ would like have those kind of pratfall things written in. And I think actually Alison Janney's character kind of like now we're in this second administration can't do that so much. She carries too much power. And there's something nice about putting this character of Amy Gardner, who is so experienced and so educated and powerful in her own right, with all of these jobs that she's had, into a new environment.
Yes.
And her kind of continually kind of like battling to get to know the environment that she's in.
Yes.
I think that's very clever. Because if you take her from the job she had before and she just seamlessly fits into the West Wing, you need her to have those few weeks like Will Bailey had.
Yes.
Where you're just like struggling with stuff and it's not quite fitting and you're getting hazed a bit.
Totally.
Because it helps make those characters vulnerable in the long run. Because otherwise, like, Will Bailey is this star writer who's never had anything bad happen. But putting him to work in a room full of bikes actually kind of reminds you that he's just like a guy.
Yeah.
Abbey comes in full of hell about Clancy.
Yes.
And is basically like, I need you today on your first day of work to convince all of the top staffers for the president, to convince him to threaten to veto the foreign ops bill unless they remove it's not a clause, is it? Would just be another bill, a part of the bill, an amendment.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting is it's Amy's first day and Abby's like, this is what I want you to do. But at no point is Abbey like, get some folks in an office. I'd love to come down. Let's put our heads together. Like she wants to make political waves, but she's not wanting to do the work. Not in a lazy way. I think that it's like, I'd love to see Abbey be like, right, how can I put my passion in play? Like, teach me how to be a political operator.
It's interesting. I think it's very purposeful on Abby's part. I think her remit is, because can you imagine your job on your first day of work is to get an entire staff of people to change your boss's husband's mind?
Insane.
Mad. You're essentially like trying to run on a professional scale the argument your boss is currently having with her partner. Like, that's mad. And I think it's a strategy on Abby's part to say, I am going to give you on your first day a borderline impossible task just to see how you'll handle that.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know that Abbey was ever actually expecting Amy to succeed, because Abby's already tried it herself directly.
Very good, very good. On top of this monumental task that Amy has, she then has a visit from Will and CJ being like, FYI, Abbey might need to meet with this person, or like, we might need to meet with this person, you might need to meet with this person, because Abby's great, whatever, grandfather was a pirate. And CJ refers to this woman, whose real name, of course, we know is Marion Coatsworth Hay, as Helena Hodworth Hooter Tooter of Braintree.
You know, I'm just so glad that CJ is having her fun where she can. Her boyfriend got killed at the end of last season. Her dad has dementia. I say, have the jokes where you can. You know what I mean? Let loose on Marblehead, CJ. Let loose.
I couldn't agree more. Toby's old roommate.
Oh my God. This whole scene was spectacular from start to finish. It was one of the most baller things I've ever watched.
It was incredible. So first of all, this guy's like, hey, I just wanted to introduce you to my friend. He's a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Me and Toby were roommates together. And I was like, this guy has weird energy. He seems like a fucking dick. Like, he's like, oh, my friend's really successful. And this guy's like, yeah, we work for like a chemical company. Ha, 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 ha. And I was like, oh, you're both evil. And then like they walk away because they've got this meeting. And then Bert's like, oh, I should have asked him about his kids. Like, his ex-wife's expecting children. So, like, we should let me go and do that. And the way that he like walks in, leans over Toby's desk and is like, pretend to get out your wallet and show me a picture and listen very carefully. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, it's Bert Gantz is now my favorite one episode arc character.
Oh, 100%. Because you start off going like, what on earth possessed Toby to live with this guy?
I know.
Like, where did this connection come from? And then he comes in to say that he essentially wants protection as a whistleblower, and you go, oh, that's why you guys were friends, because you both shake things up.
You're both the movers and shakers. And I was like, this is Erin Brockovich meets the West Wing. But also kind of fascinating from a 2026 perspective with like what's happening across parts of the US with data centers and water supplies. It's like
100%.
It would be fascinating to know what kind of like falsified documents are being bandied around now, because if it's happening in 2004 now in this show?
2003, yeah.
2003, it's certainly still happening now.
Yeah, I mean, just on your Erin Brockovich note, I'm very aware that she was a real woman and not a character in a Julia Roberts film, but I would die for a crossover episode where Erin Brockovich, as played by Julia Roberts in the film, comes into the West Wing.
Yeah. And she's been in the news quite recently, actually, because she's still campaigning.
Oh, yeah. She's still doing her thing, for sure.
So here's to you, Erin.
Love you, Erin. Love to two Erins this episode.
Yeah. Oh, it's kismet. A Josh and Amy walk and talk.
I love their X energy so much. I know I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm still trying to work out why it works so much better than it did with Mandy. Maybe because we saw the relationship play out. I don't know.
I think it's because we allowed Amy to be a serious person and a silly person. Whereas you need to remember the first time we met Mandy, she drove her car like onto a lawn and like got out and shouted at a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we just learned from Mandy how to write female leads.
Yes. Yes, agreed.
Is it true everything fell off your wall?
How do you know that?
I'm everywhere.
It's so fun.
Also, Amy's suit is really nice. She looks great.
She looks great. It's an amazing first day outfit.
And she has some really nice glasses, which she wore in a previous scene as well, which I really like. She's trying to get Josh on board with this veto plan. And he's like, you know, I'm not going to fall for Amy's plan of magic and wonder. And I'm like, that is annoying. I agree. Like like you're never going to get Josh on board with this. But also, you would never describe a male colleague's like pitch as a plan of magic and wonder.
No, when Sam was having his most idealistic moments, you never would have spoken about Sam's passion project that way.
No. Should we talk about this Donna side quest?
Yes, Donna having a DAR side quest. I'm thrilled.
It's fucking mental what she has to do, though.
Oh, it's awful.
So there's someone who's coming to the DAR party, and her boyfriend previously had a felony conviction for drug dealing, like 12 years previously or something.
Yeah, when he was in college.
And so the Secret Service are like, we need to keep tabs on this guy while he's in the White House. And their decision was to make that person be Donna.
It's the task from hell. It's because you can kind of do any awful task at work as long as you can have a moment of rolling your eyes and everyone understanding that you've been given a thankless task. Being given a thankless task with the added layer of social anxiety, because what you're being asked to do is behave like a total freak without being able to give an explanation for why that's not like who you are. It's just like professionally what you've been asked to do.
It's deeply unfair.
But don't tell him we think he's a security risk. It's just, inhospitable.
Poor Donna. Poor Donna. Back to Alaska.
Please.
Leo and kind of a bunch of, I guess, like scientists and people who I suppose work for, what's the department? I want to say it's FEMA, but is that right? Who like
Department
deal with
of the Interior.
Yeah, the people who deal with like natural disasters and like orchestrate like rescues of people and like all of that. And we meet a woman who I'm obsessed with.
Immediately obsessed, new favorite, just like one and done character of The West Wing. Hilary Tubin, aka Amanda Carlin, aka Rachel Green's obstetrician from Friends when she's pregnant in Friends.
This lady says something and Leo's like, what's your job title? And someone replies and he's like, what does that mean? And she just goes, it means I'm an expert in what I'm about to say. And I'm going to take that forward in life.
Agreed.
Because that is such a great way to respond when someone's like, so you're like the vice president of like what? And I don't get it. It's like, well, it means that I'm an expert in this.
Yeah.
So like, don't question me on it. It'd be a great way to shut down mansplainers, to be honest.
Oh, completely.
But yes, essentially what Helen goes on to say is greenhouse gases have significantly warmed up the world and therefore glaciers are melting. And the way that like Leo looks at her like he's never conceived of this concept before.
It is as though Leo in this moment is discovering the concept of climate change.
Yes, yeah. And as I sat there, sweat dripping through every kind of like part of my body in this heat wave, I thought, wow. Really wish people had kind of stopped and thought about this a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that big oil hadn't had a chokehold on so many people and eat the rich.
I really wish that Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage would stop banging on about, as if they're American Republicans, about drilling an oil in the midst of the UK's second huge heat wave of the summer. I mean, I'm literally sat here in a bikini. That would never be my first choice.
I didn't choose this. I don't want this. Like, you just think of everyone who's like, if we're struggling, Lee, if you're sat here in a bikini and I'm, sweating through my t-shirt, we're not elderly people or people who are struggling with illness or children.
Yeah.
Get your fucking shit together, politicians. It's too fucking late now anyway, but let's just do something in the interim for the love of God.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Amy and Abbey. I'm calm now. Abby's like, oh, the boys giving you a hard time. And Amy's like, they're rascals. And the tone of her voice when she says, they're rascals, is so like, I'm fucking done with this day.
Yeah.
And like the potential hazing that may or may not be happening to me is literally like the lowest on my list of priorities right now.
Yeah. But then Abbey hits her with the most damning thing you can hear on your first day at a job, which is, should I get someone else?
Whoa.
So damning.
I would not respond well to that.
I would burst into tears on the spot.
Yeah, that's not good for me personally.
Or I'd just go full kind of flapping Irish woman and go, no.
Yeah, I think I'd do the same, to be honest.
Apologies, Misha, for that.
Yeah, so high-pitched. Then Abbey leaves and Amy closes the doors to her office. Lovely, like, pocket sliding doors. The doors then fall off.
Yeah.
But from one legend to another. Hey there, Charlie.
She's breaking up with me again. An email. It's a Dear John email from my ex-girlfriend. This is going to be a high self-image day.
Why is she breaking up with you again?
I make Jean-Paul uncomfortable. They've had a talk.
Fuck you, Jean-Paul.
You're a coward and you've embarrassed yourself.
Fuck you, Jean-Paul. And you bet you stood over her shoulder while she was typing out that email and you were like, no, say this. You piece of little shit. Get out of her life. You're not good enough for her.
But also, Zoe's been inducted into the DAR. I'm dead. So many DAR plot lines. Everything is all roads lead to the DAR.
All roads lead to the DAR. And that means that Zoey is going to be at the West Wing tonight. And she might bump into Charlie. But I enjoyed that, like, Will is kind of having this witty back and forth with Charlie. That's nice. There's a burgeoning friendship.
Yes, I really support the blossoming friendship between these two.
You're going to take this lying down?
No, I'll be standing up most of the time.
Everyone's being so funny this week.
So funny that there's like a further exchange about Will's dating history that also took me out. It's
like, Charlie's like, when did you last have a girlfriend? And Will's like, oh, about like 9 months ago. But it was like 2 days. And Charlie's like, yeah, so you like really can't like comment. And Will's like, I know. She's like, she was like a complete psycho. And you're like, this is so funny. I would love to know more about this woman that essentially Will kind of had a 2-night stand with, it sounds.
I think with a rival campaign manager.
Would love. I really needed this fun, silly episode in a big, big way.
Yeah.
Will and CJ have gone back to see Amy to kind of tell her that they have got Marion in the mural room and they're all going to go and talk to her. And like, the way that Will and CJ are speaking is like they're completely and utterly bonkers. They're like asking her about the hazing, and Will's like, oh, it's not too bad. And then he puts his hand in his pocket and pulls out like a handful of olives. And then he like looks at CJ and he's like, still with the olives? And she's like, haha, still with the olives. And the way they cut back to Amy and her face is just like so perfect. Her expression is so like, what the fuck is this place?
Yeah. But also olives would ruin so much beautiful tailoring. The oils, Fee. The oils.
The brines. Really awful pearl like necklace with like a big bead on it from CJ. Really, truly very bad. But I will say that this scene is possibly one of my favorite scenes that's ever happened on this show.
Agreed.
We enter the mural room as a trio, and there is a small woman and a man there. We introduce ourselves to the man. He's a lawyer. He's the lawyer of Marion.
He's the secretary of Marion.
Oh, he's Marion's secretary. My mistake. And then whilst they're about to start a conversation, Marion just like leans forward and screams her name at CJ.
I want to be Marion Coatsworth-Hay when I grow up. Also, might I just say, this woman bears a remarkable resemblance to my cat. She is my cat in human form. They have the same face.
Uncanny. And also behaviorally, very similar. Sort of like confusing, sly, loud, flighty. And then just like from time to time, kind of like easily bribed.
Yeah.
CJ obviously fully corpses, bursts into laughter in Marion's face. And then is like laughing and obviously needs to give a reason why she's laughing. And the reason she chooses is, I was just thinking of this thing that happened with the deficit. And then she has to like be taken away because she can't stop laughing. Amy comes in, plays a blinder, but essentially is like, she was given the tip from CJ that she could like offer this woman a fake award. So she offers her a fake award and Will's kind of miming it behind her. And this is where they come up with the Francis Scott Key.
I have to say, it's been a while. It really reminded me of when you see a really bad piece. I've not seen a really bad piece of theatre in a long time.
Yes,
where you're
the giggles, like unbelievable.
You're not allowed to laugh.
And that makes it worse.
And it makes it so much worse because it's supposed to be a really serious piece.
And it's when you get the giggles so bad, and Leigh and I used to have this when we were at university as well, where you'd be like your body would be like convulsing and shaking with it. I remember once Leigh and I saw a truly shockingly bad piece of theatre that was really bad.
It was insensitive. It was Every creative decision that had been made in this show was ill-judged.
That's a really, really good way of describing it. And Leigh and I got
a shocking lack of depth of engagement with quite serious subject matter.
Leigh and I got the giggles very badly. And then at one point, I was like, we have to stop. And Leigh couldn't. And she, like CJ, was sort of like shaking. And she just sort of bent over herself. And then I just started like patting her on the back and being like, there.
We passed it off as being moved by the emotion of the piece.
And people were like turning around and being like, oh my God, yeah, no, it is like, it's quite the play. And you're like, and then we actually had to leave because
we did. It felt like actually ourselves. It was the more respectful thing to do.
Truly.
Yeah.
Small moment of conjecture. As they leave the room, Will gives Marion a small bow. Very good. We go with Amy to meet Josh in the corridor. Mm-hmm. And this is one of my options for Man, I Feel Like a Man. How'd you get this stuff to fall off the wall?
The guys from the Army counterintelligence. Good bunch of boys. I don't ask questions.
Fuck's sake. I think he also says in that interaction, like, I know everything. Yeah. Or like, I am everywhere again.
But there's a campery to it. I'm fine with bravado if it's camp. You know what I mean?
There's a twinkle. There's a twinkle. But Amy's like, look, I'm still going to pitch at you about this veto thing. He stands fast that he's not going to. He says a line that in the year 2026 feels rough.
We're not giving back Roe. Famous last words.
Yeah. Then Leigh, do you remember the context of the line below?
Yes, because obviously we're discussing the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution, and Josh says the daughters of any revolution will do, which was potentially Josh's funniest ever joke.
It was really good. I laughed out loud at that. And then Leigh kind of went on a wild rampage in our shared doc and just sort of started lamenting about how you weren't in the DAR and in another world you would have been inducted into the DAR and had a debutante ball.
I feel that in a previous life I was inducted into the DAR and debuted as a young woman.
I think there's a world in which in your current life, because you loved your like history competitions and stuff, I could have seen like a teenage Leigh being like turning to your dad and being like, I'd like to join the DAR. And James very calmly looking at you and being like, I don't understand why you would want that. But if that's what you want, you can do that. I mean, you can't because you can't join it. But like, I feel
also,
like he would
honey, we arrived in America 4 years ago.
Yeah. I feel like if it had been possible for you to join, he would have grudgingly supported you moment by moment through every section of it, but with like a kind of quiet sort of sighing energy. This is what she's chosen. I don't try and understand it.
Back to Bert.
Bert's in such deep shit because we're now with like a member of the White House counsel's office, and essentially that guy's like, dude, but you like, you've kind of known for 3 years, so I guess like you've signed stuff, right? Like even though you knew you signed fraudulent documents, and the guy was like, and Bert's like, yeah, I did do that. And then the White House counsel's like, well, now we're all culpable. So if you get called to like trial on this, we could all be called as witnesses because you've told us all everything.
Yeah, it's bad.
To which Josh and Toby, not thrilled.
No.
I don't understand. All I did was get up in the morning, then I got a message to come see you.
How come he knows about the rule?
Everybody knows about that.
Was something else on your mind in law school the day that they taught that rule? Were you distracted by a bumblebee? I feel that was my best Toby to date.
It's very good.
Thank you.
I will say that so Bert then gets taken to the White House counsel's office because basically Toby's like, well, now we're all embroiled in this. Mm-hmm. We need to get him immunity from prosecution because otherwise we're all fucked.
Yeah.
So you need to go do that. The lawyer and Bert bustle off. But then Bert's like, can I leave my coat here? And then I got freaked out, Leigh, and this never came to anything, but I was like, oh my God, maybe he's like a double agent and there's a wire in his coat. Like, why would he leave it?
I think it's just symbolic of, hey, listen, you know, we've all had a bad housemate in the past. that we've tried to kind of shake off as time has gone on. And I think it's just a symbol of that housemate imposing himself on your life in the most inconvenient and damning way, both professionally and personally, that they possibly could.
I fully believe in this moment that Bert never did any of the dishes, never washed up.
Yeah.
And Toby was just there being like, I've got a study, man. Can you keep it down? And Bert's like, hey, want to share a joint?
I truly believe that Toby was left several times to kind of like comfort, care for, and entertain women who'd been abandoned in their shared home.
Truly.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Angry Abbey is the worst type of Abbey.
Yeah, having to stand up to Abbey Bartlet would be really scary.
They're about to walk into this DAR dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and Amy's like, I wasn't successful with the job that you gave me today. And tries to stand up for herself and is basically like, look, I don't know why you would ask me to do this. And then Abby's like, well, you kind of did the same thing for marriage incentives. And Amy's like really shaken by it. And then Abbey just says, thanks for the pep talk there. And then walks into the room. Awful. Should we discuss Jean-Paul?
I lived for every moment of Charlie calling John Paul incredibly stupid to his face.
Jean-Paul's like, where am I meeting Zoey? First of all, like, get your shit together. Also, like, Charlie isn't your personal assistant.
No. He's
Charlie
the
just
assistant to the President of the United States. He is the personal aide to the President of the United States. He's not your own personal butler, John Paul.
Charlie's like, well, this obviously isn't where cars arrive because this is a building. Which I thought was really funny, just turning to someone, not explaining anything to them and just going, this is a building.
We are indoors.
Yeah. And then he's like, wait, you're so stoned. And then he's like, you really need to be careful, like, behaving like that around Zoey, which is true. And that, if there was a way for me to hate Jean-Paul more, this was it. What are you doing, sir? What are you doing? You're at the White House. You're like the son of like a French dignitary. Like there's skin in the game here for you. What are you doing being stoned? Anyway, disgusting. We're going to check in with Donna and her kind of tailing this couple.
Terrible.
Oh, I hate this for her.
I hate it for her. It's literally the worst.
It's like, they're like, oh, hi. And she's like, hi. And then just like can't leave. And do you know what's criminal about this the most, Leigh? That this storyline comes to no sense of fruition.
Yeah.
That they just made Janelle Maloney do that.
Yeah.
For no good reason.
Yeah. Just like actively third wheel herself with strangers.
Check in with Leo about him discovering global warming. And he's like, we need to talk about what Helen was discussing with me. And then they come up with the concept, and I need to explain this out loudly because you were like, oh, this is a really great plan. And I was like, I don't think I fully understand the plan.
Yes.
So the plan is, if Leo says that, well, if they leak that the information came from Helen, actually that doesn't have much gravitas because she'll sort of be like branded as just like, I guess like a scientist who would say something like that.
Yeah.
So it's more powerful for it to come from a staffer in the West Wing.
Yes.
And that's why Will's like, I'll say it was me.
Yeah. So Leo was like, this is really important information that needs to get through to the American people, but we can't suddenly have taken what some will view to be like an extremist environmentalist stance. But what we can do is have someone fall on a sword a little bit and raise awareness about what this climatologist is saying without it officially coming from the White House.
Okay, amazing. Zoey has arrived.
You could churn butter in that thing.
Charlie Young has no right to make that sound sexy.
No.
I would like to note that Zoey is wearing what I would describe as like a chunky gem necklace.
Yeah, it takes chunky to a whole new level because both the gems individually are chunky, but then it's also like
multi-layer stacked.
In ways are rough.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's awful.
Yeah. If it were a tattoo, it would be a chest piece.
Yeah, and the thing is, I know I would have coveted that. back then. I would have been like, wow, what a necklace.
But I have to say, Zoey, never try and have a big conversation with an ex via email.
No.
That's
Also,
madness.
When that ex is Charlie.
Ugh. I know why it is, though. It's because he has so much riz that she wouldn't be able to get through saying it to his face.
Well, she's trying to be firm with him in this moment. And unfortunately, Charlie is the sexiest man. The way he talks to her firmly,
but
is
also
so hot.
It's also so respectful at the same time.
And him being like, but she's like, stop pursuing me.
Respectfully, no.
Listeners, I am already sweating, but I'm sweating more just thinking about that. And the way that like, also they have amazing chemistry.
Yeah.
And you know that like if he had lent in, they would have kissed.
Charlie Young, you should teach lessons in riz.
Honestly, I think it could help. It could help a lot of men and women and people in general.
But there's even like a slight vulnerability before he says, because I'm in love with you. I was like, oh.
Also, the thing is, there's a way to go about winning back an ex.
Yes.
And it can be done.
Yes.
Oftentimes, we decide to do it ill-judged because we're hurting. I think that Charlie has all of the grounds for winning back an ex in this scenario. Mm-hmm. And he is doing it with great respect because he's not trying to sleep with Zoey.
No.
He's just reminding her what she's missing.
Agreed. And then he does a little jump when she walks away.
She walks away and like goes into the White House, and he does like a little shadow dunk.
So cute.
Very cute. I love him. Back to the party. Things are worse for Donna.
Yes.
They're like, the couple are actively like, oh, do you want to should we go and get a drink and we'll come back? And then Donna's like, oh, we're all going to the bar. Awful. But Abbey and Amy are going to make up. Yes.
And also they have such good chemistry. These two actors.
I think it's because they have quite similar delivery and kind of energy. They're kind of quite like raspy, witty women.
Yeah.
And so like they kind of have this like back and forth, and Amy like spouts her entire CV at Abbey and is like, if you want to fire me, fire me. And Abby's like, well, I'm not going to fire you, but you need to chill out.
Was actually going to tell you that you did a good job today. So,
but sure. And then we get a crazy lore drop.
We get an insane lore drop when Abbey goes like, this is hard for me. I used to babysit for you. What?
What the fuck? Like, what? Where has this information come from?
Are we crazy? Because they're acting as if this is information we already knew.
It's new to me.
It's certainly new to me.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. But also then give us more. My God, show me some photos. But also like in what world is Abigail Bartlett, very respected surgeon, babysitting for Amy Gardner, who would have needed a babysitter? So what we're saying, Amy is maybe like 33, 34?
Let's say 35.
35. So maybe she needed a babysitter 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Or more. That's still at the start of Abby's career. And we're saying Abby's 60?
Maybe it was like a during medical school thing.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like we've thrown this in, Aaron, and we've not thought about the timeline. So we'd love some more information on that. But we must await a bed, Leigh. I love Jed's jammies.
Oh,
He's got this little velvet dressing gown on, which is very cutesy. And they're just getting ready for bed and kind of both being Katharine Hepburn.
Yes. I like how you think patronizing me is going to make me feel better. It's sweet.
Honestly, I could watch a full-length West End show that is just deleted Jed and Abbey scenes.
Yeah.
Or a day in the life of Jed and Abbey, and it's just a two-hander.
Yeah.
With Stockard Channing and Martin Sheen, and all it is just the people who never make it round for dinner, or like the phone call that comes in, but like no one else ever comes on stage. But we're constantly getting affected by like different characters who are off stage. It's just the two of them being witty with one another. Amazing. And that's the end of the episode. It's kind of her being like, I want to do more, and him being like, cool, go for it.
To the quickfires?
Yes. Your best fashion, Leigh.
Amy's first day of work outfit. It's so slick. It's so profesh. She looks great.
I'd like to shout out an honourable mention to Jed's dressing gown. Very classy. I love that he's a long, full gym jam kind of guy. He's not just wearing like briefs to bed. He's going for a full jammy. And I think that bring it back. Honestly, love a man in a jammy. Think it's cute. Both CJ and Zoe's necklaces can go in the bin, please. Burn them. What could a British or Irish politician never get away with?
Making up an award to give to a posh woman.
Yeah, truly. That's honestly 100% correct.
Yeah.
I would just like to plumb for successfully getting your old roommate immunity.
Yeah.
What was your queerest moment that never meant to be queer?
Toby's charged reunion with his ex-housemate.
Yes, I agreed. There is just like a queer energy to covert operations. And I guess it must just come from like the history of queer people always having to conceal
and
their
coded
authenticity.
Language.
Coded language.
Very queer. Yeah.
So it kind of made sense that like this sort of like spy espionage storyline just felt like kind of two guys with a past.
Yeah.
You know? What was your best writerly moment?
I like how you think patronizing me is going to make me feel better. It's sweet.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine has to be Will and Charlie with, you going to take this lying down?
No, I'll be standing up most of the time. Yeah.
That's funny. Man, I feel like a man.
You could churn butter in that thing.
That, I think, has to be the standout winner. I like from Josh, the guys from Army Counterintelligence, good bunch of boys that don't ask questions. And what was the moment that made you proudest to be an American?
Marblehead.
Marblehead, stunning. Mine's just Jed and Abby's marriage.
Aww.
You know?
Beautiful.
I thought that was such a fun episode.
Loved it.
I had such a good time. I needed this to lift me and lift my spirits and carry on for the rest of the season. But Leigh, what shall we learn today?
No surprises here. It's about the daughters of the American Revolution.
Aha!
So, we're in post-Civil War. The country has been torn apart by violence and death.
Okay, so this is you're kicking out our lot, right? Get the
No.
Oh.
Two separate wars. Separated by about 100 years.
Okay, so we're gone.
You're gone. You've been gone for 100 years.
And the French, they're off. We're all finished.
Yeah.
And you guys have made some states.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. And this is the Yankees and the
Confederates.
Okay, I'm with you. So this is Gone with the Wind.
This is Gone with the Wind.
Great.
This is, Lincoln's dead, but recently.
Right. He's okay. Cool. Great. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Context.
Yeah. We're in Dickinson, the TV series.
Stunning. Thank you. Yeah, that's all I need to know. Great. Now I can imagine what everyone's wearing as well.
Yeah.
Crinoline.
Yes. The people are searching for answers post-conflict in the founding of the country. The women are frustrated because the Sons of the American Revolution is founded in 1889, and they vote to exclude women from membership in 1890. A woman named Mary Smith Lockwood is not happy. In fact, she's incensed. She writes a searing editorial for the Washington Post on July 13th, 1890, where she says, quote, "Were there no mothers of the revolution?"
Wow. That's a wow.
Now, a man called William O. McDowell, who was the vice president of the Sons of the American Revolution, disagreed with the vote, and he wrote a letter to the Post in response to Mary Lockwood's editorial, urging the women to organize themselves.
How very male.
and offering organizational assistance.
Oh, well, that's actually quite nice, I suppose.
The first meeting took place. It was at Mary Smith Lockwood's home. It was 18 women, and they voted for the First Lady at the time, Mrs. Benjamin Harrison, to become the first President General of the Daughters of the American Revolution. So yes, it's founded in 1890 to promote historic preservation, education, and patriotism across the United States. So we've got to think about this. This is the context of the reunification of the states post-Civil War.
Sure.
So it's like, hey, but we all love America, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it's about our great country.
Yes. So gaining membership to the Daughters of the American Revolution can be a grueling process through the genealogical research required alone. To be eligible to join, you have to have a direct ancestor who was a patriot, which is either a soldier in the Revolutionary period or someone who aided the independence cause.
Wow.
So the DAR defines a patriot as someone who provided service or direct assistance in achieving America's independence, and can include everything from kind of official soldiers to participants in the Boston Tea Party and civilians who donated material goods to the troops. Of course, the American Revolution was carried out against your good selves, Great Britain, beginning in 1775 and ending in 1783, when the colonies gained independence and eventually formed the United States of America. So when you're applying for membership of the DAR, you get given a genealogy worksheet, which is essentially like a pedigree chart, as one would get when adopting a purebred cat or dog.
Yeah,
which has to be filled out with verified legal documents of each person in your family lineage to be validated with birth, marriage, and death certificates for every person that links you back to your patriot.
That's a lot of documentation.
It's intense. So if you can prove direct lineage to a patriot, you are automatically, once you apply, you're granted national membership. And you have to then obviously pay your fees and dues. But then it's not necessarily a given that you will be accepted into your chosen chapter. Because that decision is then made based off of whether the chapter leadership finds you to be, quote, personally acceptable.
Personally acceptable is a very silly phrase.
Yes, which, although in the early years of the DAR, it was an inherently progressive institution that supported liberal causes like women's suffrage. Susan B. Anthony was a longtime member, and they even bestowed an award on a mixed race member whose father had served in the revolution. By the time kind of 1900 rolls around, the personally acceptable clause essentially de facto means that the applicants who are excluded are the uneducated, Indigenous women, Black women, and Jewish women. Mm-hmm. Although there was never explicitly a rule that said Black women couldn't join. In terms of the present-day structure of the DAR, there are 3,000 local chapters through all 50 states and Washington, D.C. There are also international chapters in Australia, Austria, the Bahamas, Bermuda, Canada, France, Germany, Japan, Mexico, Spain, and the United Kingdom. They have a threefold program, a historical division, which fosters the study of U.S. history and, quote, the preservation of Americana.
Sorry, I pulled a face there, which is not helpful in the podcasting format.
An educational division that gives scholarships and loans and supports schools for underprivileged youth. In the early 20th century, that also meant giving new immigrants to the United States Americanization training to help them adjust to the principles of American life.
I feel like that maybe looking back on that, it might not have aged well.
Yeah. But there is something that is actually even worse, which brings us to 1939, a globally spicy year. because basically by World War I, the DAR has embraced white Christian nationalism. In the 1920s, the DAR called for pure Americanism, which sounds disturbingly like the KKK's slogan, 100% American.
Yeah.
But then this sparks national outrage for the first time in 1939 because they have a headquarters in Washington, D.C. called Constitution Hall. And in
I've
1939, yes.
I didn't go inside. I just stood outside and was like, wow. But there we go. That's it. Sorry, please continue.
In 1939, they barred the world famous Black opera singer Marian Anderson from performing in their auditorium, prompting our gal, who always comes out on the right side of history, Eleanor Roosevelt, our queer queen, to renounce her membership of the DAR in response.
It's a big move, but it works. It works for her.
A Protestant bishop also labeled the society the mothers of fascism.
Ooh.
So instead, Marian Anderson performed on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial to an audience of 75,000 people. Millions listened on the radio. She was eventually allowed to perform in Constitution Hall in 1943. But in 1945, Hazel Scott, the famous Black pianist, was barred from performing in Constitution Hall. And the ban on Black performers performing there stayed in place for another 10 years.
Oh, that's not great history.
So that brings us to 1977 and a lady named Karen Batchelor, who would go on to be the first Black woman in modern times to join the DAR. Karen is from Detroit. She's a daughter of civil rights activists. Her mother actually attended Marian Anderson's concert at the Lincoln Memorial. Her dad was seriously injured in Detroit's Belle Isle race riot. At the age of 14, Karen Batchelor was one of 4 Black students to integrate a white high school. And she has since recalled crying at home when she came home from being so lonely at this school with all the white students, asking her dad, why do I have to do it? And her dad saying, because someone has to. Cut to grown-up Karen Batchelor. She's a young mother. As we know from our mum friends, she's in desperate need of mental stimulation of some kind. So what does she do? Sounds like a delightful afternoon. She takes herself to the library to look into her family history and see what there is to be found. Unexpectedly, she finds a white Irish ancestor who served as a Revolutionary War soldier. And she's even more surprised when the librarian at the library gets really excited and says that means that you can apply to join the DAR. So in 1976, Karen Batchelor contacts 2 local chapters in Detroit saying that she's an African-American woman with an ancestor who fought in the war and she's interested in joining. And she never hears back from either chapter. In 1976, basically all the 150,000 members of the DAR nationally were white, but also the influence of the organization was on the decline. The New York Times at the time, referring to the aging membership of the DAR, said they were primarily known for, quote, outlandish hats, ill-fitting dresses, and stony faces.
Damning, frankly, damning.
But again, our good friend, the librarian at Karen Batchelor's local library, then contacts a friend at the National Archives. This is just so like our people connecting, like just the girlies who love the library. So the librarian contacts a friend who works at the National Archives, who happens to be part of a network of Black genealogists who feel that it's time for the DAR to integrate. And they help Karen Batchelor find a Detroit chapter that will sponsor her application to officially be inducted into the DAR. And in 1977, she becomes the first openly Black DAR member since 1900. And it was considered such big news that she was featured on Good Morning America. Although it should be noted that before her, a woman of American Indian and Black descent joined in the 1890s. But Karen Batchelor, who is now 75, said, I still have the framed certificate here on my kitchen wall. Seeing it gives me resilience and strength. It was not an easy journey to integrate an organization like the DAR. At the annual Congress, I would walk through the halls alone and people would stare at me and whisper among themselves. She said one member asked her what her grandmother looked like. And she said, since my grandmother was half white and had dark hair, she looked something like you, which was the truth. And the lady looked mortified.
Oh.
So that's 1977. But then in 1984, Lena S. Ferguson, who's a Black retired school secretary who also had a white patriot ancestor, is denied membership because of her race. So 10 years later, it's the 80s, it's still happening. But the city of DC, where she lived, at the time was led by two civil rights activists. The chairman of the DC Council, David Clark, and the mayor, Marion Barry. They then threatened to rescind the DAR's tax-exempt status for having discriminatory practices.
A well-placed threat.
We love.
You know?
Just hit them where it hurts, you know? Their charitable status. Please, let's go. Let's take a look at some of these abusive churches while we're at it. It seems like a good strategy. So that same year, in 1984, two current members of the DAR, Faith Tiberio and Joyce Finley, they speak out and say that Lena Ferguson was rejected on the basis of her race, which the DAR was denying. They also publicly criticized a proposed amendment to the DAR bylaws, which would have required members to prove that their ancestors were born, quote, legitimately, which is a de facto barrier to anyone whose ancestor was enslaved or who were denied legal interracial marriage.
Yeah.
And so Tiberio and Finley, the two members who are speaking out about this, are officially reprimanded by DAR leadership, and they're threatened with expulsion from the organization for, quote, contact calculated to disturb the harmony, which is such mean girl backhanded.
Yeah, I really don't like that terminology. It's just...
Maurice A. Barboza, who was actually Lena Ferguson's nephew and a lawyer and the person who'd originally encouraged her to apply for the DAR when he discovered their family heritage, said, why don't they take action against the people who kept her out of a local chapter instead of expelling the people who are concerned about it? Tiberio said, as a descendant of people who fought for freedom, I find this very difficult to accept.
Well said.
So Lena Ferguson decides not to file a racial discrimination lawsuit, but her nephew, Maurice Barboza, helps her to negotiate an agreement with the DAR that would identify and honor more Black patriots, tell their stories about the Revolutionary War, and make the organization more welcoming to women of color. And as part of that settlement, the DAR rewrote its bylaws to state expressly that it's open to all types of women.
Great.
Lena Ferguson died in 2004, but her nephew remains disgusted by how the DAR humiliated his aunt and continues to prompt them to honor the agreement that was made with his aunt in the 1980s, which we're obsessed with. He said things have changed a great deal. A large part of the change in the DAR was caused by my aunt because she took a stand. But he also says this notion that the DAR is changing is just lip service. They don't track the race of DAR members, so how can they know if progress is really being made? They never really embraced the agreement. There was stalling and resistance from the beginning. And he also wants the DAR to try harder to find Black patriots and actually actively track down their descendants and invite those people to join. In 1986, Lena Ferguson and her nephew, Maurice Barboza, won congressional authorization to honor African Americans who fought in the Revolutionary War with a monument in the National Mall and raised enough money to fund a design, but not enough to build the memorial. So that memorial to this day hasn't been built.
It hasn't been built. Oh, that's such a shame.
Yeah. However, things did really take a turn in the Obama years. Black women applied in significant numbers during the Obama years, and that actually caused the membership of the DAR to grow for the first time in over 2 decades. Shelley Murphy, who was a Black genealogist, joined in 2013 and considers herself part of a quiet revolution. Thanks to, obviously, we can now do things like DNA testing, and document digitization has happened. So tracking one's genealogy has just gotten easier and easier. And also, there has actually been an active effort led by the DAR to search the historical record for Black and Indigenous patriots. Because the fact is, the American Revolution was a multi-ethnic conflict. Between 5,000 and 8,000 Black men fought for the Continental Army. And there were also thousands of Indigenous and Jewish soldiers and mixed race soldiers. Some of the Black soldiers who fought in the Revolutionary War were slaves who volunteered with hopes that their service would earn their freedom. Those promises were often reneged upon. But there were also Black soldiers who were born free and volunteered, and there were also Black soldiers who were sent to fight in the place of their slave owner. But since 2000, the director of the DAR's library has led a research team to identify Black patriots, and in 2008, they published Forgotten Patriots, providing the details of around 6,000 Black and Indigenous supporters of the revolution. Dr. Olivia Cousins, who's a professor of medical sociology at the Borough of Manhattan Community College, can trace her family to a soldier who joined the rebelling colonists when he was 17. Her ancestor was a free man of mixed race, and she joined the DAR during the Obama years. Dr. Cousins says, "My parents understood they were Americans and that they were a real important part of the American story." And for her parents, the whole thing was that segregation is unacceptable. And she said for her, de facto segregation is unacceptable. And she started her own chapter of the DAR in Queens, in New York, in 2012. And in that new chapter, 5 of the 13 members were Black when they first started that chapter in the Obama administration.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Yvonne Lizer, who also became a member in 2012, and 3 of her ancestors who were free Black men fought in the revolution, said, "My people participated in making this nation. Showing this to other members can help change people's perceptions."
Definitely.
And Karen Batchelor spoke to The Atlantic in 2026. She is still a current member of the DAR. And she said she was still, when she spoke to The Atlantic, she was still feeling excited about a Zoom call the previous day with 50 DAR women of color, and now views her membership as an important protest against those seeking to erase Black history from American life.
Amazing.
And she said, "More than ever, we must speak the names of our ancestors."
What an amazing person. What a rich history that the DAR has.
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating.
Because I knew about all of the kind of, hey, I kind of thought we were going to be leaning into there are certain Americans who are more American than others side of the DAR. But I didn't realize that there's been so much like advocacy for almost rebranding the DAR.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think it is so telling as well that actually Black women were a part of the DAR and women of color were a part of the DAR in the beginning. And it was only later in the growth of global fascism in the 1930s that actually it became an overtly white organization. I think that is fascinating.
Yeah.
But I think, my full knowledge of the DAR kind of was Emily Gilmore in the Gilmore Girls. So it's good
mine too. Yeah.
It's good to check in and really understand. And I really want to look into more now the history of Black soldiers and the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
I think it's
definitely
so interesting.
What a great study session, Leigh. Thank you.
Queer Gals Watch, wherever you get your socials, queergalswatch@gmail.com. If you want to send us an email, do check out our Patreon. We're Queer Gals Watch there as well. And should we do this next week?
Let's do it next week and hope that it's not quite as warm as it was today.
Please. Have you seen the thumbnail of the next episode, Fi?
Well, this is what was interesting is you put that, but on my DVD menu, it's literally just Jed on the phone.
Okay, I was on Channel 4 and the thumbnail was someone else that we both know and love who's not appeared in The West Wing before.
Intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Obsessed. Incredible. Well, I might go and watch it right now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.